What's up? Welcome to the channel. Today I just wanted to give you a really quick tip because I was out here checking some of my wood that I milled up. This is a pecan log, really big, 36-inch wide crotch section, around 6.5 feet long. So anytime that you're milling, because I just bought some lumber the other day too, and I'm looking at some of the maple log that I milled up as well. There's a catalpa behind me. When you're milling, something to think about is planning out your cuts to mill them a little thicker and a little heavier. When you are new to milling, you get really excited and you just want to cut, and you're like, oh, I'm going to cut it at this thing because I want this size boards. Well, you need to consider a few things. You need to consider your stacking and drying. You need to consider wood movement, and you need to consider that when you're with a chainsaw mill and even with a bandsaw mill, you're gonna have to remove mill marks. And so I encourage people, always mill heavy. I had a guy ask for advice on milling a log, and I just asked him, what are you wanting to get out of this? So if you're wanting your slabs to be a final size of 2 inches thick, you need to mill them probably somewhere between 2 1/4 to all the way up to even maybe 3 inches, depending on the size of the slab, because you got to think of, you're going to be in the flattening process, you're going to be taking off. And so what do you want to get to your final thickness, as well as in the drying process, it is going to shrink. Wood will shrink. And so those are some things to consider when you are new and getting started, because you get so excited and you're like, oh, I'm gonna cut all these at 1 inch. Well, if you're wanting them to be 1 inch at its final thickness, or even if you're wanting to get it down to 7/8, you still need to cut it a little heavy, because wood, even no matter how anal you are at stacking and drying, will twist, will warp, will move a little bit. And you're gonna throw in a little extra insurance and be on the safe side to have it thick. So that would just be my advice for you if you're cutting maple. I wanted to be able to get 1 inch thick at least out of those. So I cut them at 1.5 inches. So that way they'll be great 1 inch thick tabletops for me. Maybe if I dry them really good, which you can see those are stacked, stickered really well, I might even be able to get 1.25 inches out of it, which I'd be happy as well. So those are just things that I planned in my milling process. There's some more. That's some catalpa. It is drying really well. I wanted to at least be able to get 1 inch, and so since these are shorter but wider, but look how flat they are, I milled them again at 1.25 inches, so that I milled them at 5/4 because I wanted to be able to get at least 1 inch out of these, because I'll break all this down. Same thing, I wanted to be able to get 2 inches, and since this is only 3 feet, and I stacked it really well, I don't think there's going to be much movement, so I milled it at 2 inches and 1/4, so that'd be 9/4 milled. Again, you can see, just always do it a little heavy. And you know, you can make the argument, you can be a little greedy and say, but I could get one more slab. My thought process is I would rather maybe have one less slab but great quality than one extra slab and all of them are poor quality that I can't get exactly what I want out of them. Because I've learned from mistakes and failures. There have been stuff that I cut up and milled, as well as just from talking to other people who are more experienced than me. But hopefully, as you're getting into this, I hope this channel is a resource for you, a resource that I wish I would have had when I first got started, so I didn't make some of the mistakes that I made. So those are some things to think about that allow you to get more premium yield out of your lumber, as well as when you're selling it to people, and things to think about when you are buying lumber too. Make sure you're siding it for twist, warp, and cup. If it does have a little bit in there, are you going to be able to mill it down to the desired thickness that you want it? So all of those are things to think about, and maybe are a good quick tip for you as you are getting into milling, sawmilling, and planning out how you cut out your boards. So anyways, have a great day. Like, subscribe, check out some of the other videos, and no matter what, keep sawmilling.